Oh, jeez. I don't think this is working. Wow, it looks like Bitcoin really let the juice out of its caboose today. Let's get into these charts. Bitcoin has broken our first level and is on to our second before confirming a huge breakout here. We're finding that initial resistance right here, you guys, along this upward sloping line. And additionally, we're going to show you exactly what these lines are because this is a substantial pattern that Bitcoin has been trapped in for the past 2 months. Could we finally be headed towards getting above this? Or in fact, is this still a fake out? There is one crucial level that would need to be broken before any sort of real breakout would be confirmed. As you can see, Bitcoin climbs higher, shatters our first target, and guys, we're off to the second target if we can break this key level that we'll talk about in this video. Wow, and what are the chances that Bitcoin comes again to test this 2.5-year resistance line? What are the chances Bitcoin continues and actually tests this again? We're actually above the 21-day moving average here on the daily chart. So this is huge. This target now is only $9,700 US because every second that goes by, this line gets lower and lower. It's a descending line. And guys, we'll talk about this key level that Bitcoin failed to break above, and if so, what could happen if we actually get a weekly close in this level. We are in Thursday. We have a few more days until this weekly candle closes, and actually we're on track. If this continues, this could be a very beautiful candle. We'll take a look at what targets need to be hit today. And Bitcoin did not stop after it filled this gap. In fact, it actually broke through some key moving averages and is continuing to climb. Is this good? Like we mentioned in yesterday's video, there's one key level that, if broken, could propel Bitcoin over $1,000. But guys, we're not there yet. Hold your horses. And as well, this trading view chart by Crypto Kaleo actually showing what his target is. We'll take a look at that because it's all the way up here after a short level of resistance. And guys, 9,500 is a huge target. It's currently where we're getting rejected on these charts. We'll take a look at what it will need to break above this. And big news, Samsung actually doubling down on Bitcoin and crypto. Gemini exchange integration revealed. This is huge, especially after the somewhat negative Goldman Sachs news yesterday. We're going to be talking about that. Rippy-dippy-doo, let's get into the content. Wow, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another very especially Bitcoin episode. Today, again, we have more gainers on the horizon. Now, is this going to be short-lived? Because as we talked about yesterday, we still haven't broken that second level. There's 2 levels. We smashed the first one overnight here on the East Coast, but level number 2 is critical. And if we break that, then we could continue to moon and finally maybe set ourselves up to break this 2.5-year pattern that we have gotten rejected on. But it's all up to this one pattern on the chart, and we're going to be talking about that in this episode. Wow, so if that sounds interesting to you guys, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn on the dings, and as well, if you want to enter for this ledger, make sure to smash the comments below. We've already given away like 4 or 5 ledgers over the last few days. In fact, like the last 3 winners, we sent Bitcoin instead because for some reason, everybody that wins the giveaways is in Europe. Even though like 50% of my audience is United States, for some reason, everybody that wins is in Europe. So we end up sending them Bitcoin. So guys, make sure to smash the comments, all the stuff, and we can get into this webisode. Wow, so let's actually start off with this chart, guys, because this is something I think you guys need to understand. A lot of you guys do know this chart and have been following around for a while, but I did receive some comments. Some people don't necessarily understand this pattern here, and I think it's just critical to go over before we continue with the rest of the episode. So let me turn the EMA ribbon off because I want to show you these lines. Okay, these levels of ascending support and resistance have been in play since the drop on March 12th for over 2 months, actually going on 2.5 months. Very big. These levels have been crucial. It's actually insane. We'll actually go through real briefly here. This will only take about 30 seconds, but look at this. We had initial support on these levels. Okay, we had initial resistance here. Pretty much every single line has played a huge role, but it's not just that it was for like a few weeks. This level of support and resistance just continued. You can see it here, coming here, support, okay, support, resistance, and resistance, support, resistance here. Okay, this just goes on, and we pump all the way right after breaking this line up to here. We break it, but then we find support here. We try to break above, fail. This is the 10K level, which is why this is huge. That's why we failed there. We fell down to here, found some resistance and support right around this area, pump back up again, okay, and then we found some support right in this same area, this very top line. This is when we were testing this 10K area right here. This is the similar spot here on this chart where we are failing right there, and that's where we failed right there. Again, when we got rejected, down to this line, failed that, tried to break here, failed, pushed down to this line, and now guys, you can see here, after we found support on this middle line, we're coming up to this line here, and we're finding resistance here. So this is actually insane that literally all you can do for the past 2 months, you draw one channel right here and the price continues to obey it. These are completely straight lines. I can't manipulate these lines. The fact that each one of these lines, when the price gets near it, there's something that happens to it, whether it playing as support or resistance. I mean, it's just so key that this pattern has been confirmed over and over again is very important. Now, clearly, this is where our level is here. If we would actually break above here, I think it would be very easy to say we could see a pump up to this level right here, but we can't only use this chart. And actually, as I'm filming this, the exact level of where this line is basically right at 10,000 US dollars. You guys can see that on the screen right here. So this break would put us right at $10,000. So if it's going to go up, I think that's very important to recognize. But again, I don't think it's going to be a straight shoot right here. And that's where we're going to switch to some of these other charts. For example, let's go to the falling wedge, which a lot of people are looking at because it's a very pretty looking pattern. It actually looks like it broke out exactly like a falling wedge would break out to. Now, I did say 2 videos ago, I think it's less likely that this will break up given the context of the entire chart, all of these other charts as well, the other time frames. But it is seeming to continue to break out. And like we mentioned in yesterday's video, the one level that it would have to break to actually confirm this to keep going up, I would say is like the 9,700 US dollar mark. We're at 9,500 US dollars right now, which we're seeing some resistance. You guys can see that's why on this chart, this is why I believe we're seeing the resistance there. But guys, the breakout target, if this, because this is a falling wedge, and the breakout has been confirmed, but it has not reached the full breakout level of this pattern here. If it did, it would put Bitcoin above 10,000 US dollars. So the full breakout target of this pattern is above 10,000 US dollars. So if this pattern completely fulfills its breakout, we will be above 10,000 US dollars. And so we will be above this level in this chart. Like we mentioned yesterday, it would put us above the past 2.5 years of resistance for the most substantial amount since back in June of 2019. But again, guys, this level of resistance has been so long. And let's actually just take a zoom out for 1 second. This is absolutely pretty wild. So after we had that massive drop on March 12th, it's basically been, if you look on a weekly scale, this thing just pretty much went straight up. Aside from the past like 2 weeks where we got a rejection right about here, this thing has pretty much just been going straight up. Now, the climate around Bitcoin is pretty positive. There's not too much negative news. The Goldman Sachs news really didn't affect Bitcoin's price at all. I don't think anyone really cares about that. Obviously, a bank is not going to go out and start promoting Bitcoin, even though they are buying it in the background. They're buying it in secret, obviously. JP Morgan called it a fraud 2 or 3 years ago, and they're obviously, the news a week ago, they're partnering with Coinbase Gemini. There are obviously a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and these official reports basically mean nothing. So that's why I don't think the price had any negative impact, because nobody really cares about what Goldman Sachs says in some fraudulent official document. Like, nobody cares. They don't even believe their own statements. So with that being said, the first level we talked about we had to break was 93. Second is 97. And if that's the case, I think we're going much higher than 10K. So those are the 2 levels. Broke 93, which we did just a few hours ago. And if we break 97 and can hold that, then I think 10K plus even 11K is definitely in the cards for the short term, which I've been bearish the last few days. But guys, if this continues, again, we're still in a very neutral zone. This has really not given any confirmation just yet. Again, we haven't broken 97. So I don't think we can get too excited until we actually break 9,700. But again, this does look pretty good. And for some reason, it is still continuing to go up when a lot of people were expecting it to go down here. But if we saw a retracement back to 93, we want to hold that before maybe pushing up to 97. But overall, again, breaking 97, one of the biggest reasons here is because that breaks this long-term downtrend, which is just huge. And as well, guys, another reason why 9,700 is absolutely huge, because we were looking on this daily and then 4-hour chart here. But if we go to the weekly chart, we spent the last 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks actually, closing candles below 97. So for the past few weeks, we haven't gotten a candle closing above 97. We've been dipping our toes in the waters up here. We haven't actually closed a candle here. So if we actually push up here and are able to hold it over the weekend and get this weekly close, then I think next week could be extremely optimistic. But again, this is what we need to wait for, because you hear me getting a little bullish, but I'm still very hesitant because we're not here just yet. This is why I keep saying I think 97 has to be, we have to get a close in this level. Even if we just wick up here, that's not good enough. We have like 3 days left until the close. We need to actually close a daily candle or a weekly candle up in this area here. If we do that, I think it's absolutely banana town. Things will go absolutely bananas, but we have to do that first. So again, in terms of all the key moving averages on the weekly and the daily, they're all below us. So we're not using those too much right now because they're all underneath where our current price target is. Even on the VPVR, the most substantial levels of volume are below us. Okay, you can see we're right here, and all these substantial levels are below us. So again, we're above everything still, even though we've had a few rough weeks of getting pushed down about $1,000, which again isn't even that much. Even though we've gotten pushed down a few times in the past few weeks, we're still holding these huge levels, and we haven't come down to this pullback area. We haven't come down to the 8,100 US dollar level, which a lot of people, including myself, definitely thought would happen. Again, it's still very possible that it could, but this is, the momentum to the upside right now is still a lot stronger than I think a lot of people were expecting. So very interesting. We're actually basically right at 9,500 right now, so it'll be interesting to see over the next 2 days because we still do have 2 more days, the rest of today and then tomorrow before we get the close where we could have to worry about that CME gap then. So that's really important. Now, Crypto Kaleo here, I found this on Twitter. His breakout target here is something like this. So breakout of this falling wedge, which is right here. Now, this is interesting because this chart was actually posted 2 days ago before this breakout happened. Yet, so far, his pattern is actually true. So let's take a look here. It has by the 28th being about 9,500. So according to this chart, we should actually, according to his chart here, we could be seeing 96, even that $9,700 level, which we were talking about as being so key within the next, actually by today or tomorrow, according to this chart. Now, one thing I think is a little sketchy is that if we get this massive pump right on the weekend, we're going to be creating a CME gap to the downside, which is not good because I think most likely we'll come down and fill it, guys. Remember, CME gaps, lately they've been filling immediately. Look at this. Right here, down, immediately filled. Same for 2 weeks ago. Here, down, immediately filled back up. Same thing here, okay? This was 1 week ago. Down, gap to the upside, immediately filled. Sorry, gap to the downside, immediately filled. So this is a very nice looking pattern, and so far, he's posted this 2 days ago, and so far it's coming true. So it would be really interesting to see. I also agree with the line that he has here of the 97 being a very important level, and this is basically just that downtrending resistance line. So very big. If this actually does happen, I 100% agree with the trajectory of this happening as well, because this falling wedge is about a month long, a month worth of data on this chart here. Break up to 97, which I think we'll see some resistance. And then if it does break that, then I could see this being a very nice breakout. He has the breakout target all the way up actually at almost 11,000 US dollars. Yeah, 11,000. So I didn't necessarily have it charted to be that high of a breakout target, but it does make sense according to this chart. I'm not going to argue that. I definitely think that could be a possibility there. Very cool. So his description then here is expect this to pump to at least 9,800, expecting brief accumulation and then a leg up to the next range, which that chart illustrates. And then as well, guys, I want to show you this article by William Suberg here on Cointelegraph. Its price surges past 9.4K as week of gains targets a 5-figure level. So I actually have a few points highlighted here. Cointelegraph reported this has come in tandem with a strong outlook for traditional markets and places Bitcoin USD ever closer to a 5-figure level. The 9,500 has to be broken. It emerged institutional fund giant Grayscale is now buying 1.5 times the amount of Bitcoin that's being mined. And as well, Goldman Sachs claiming cryptocurrency is not an asset failed to have any negative impact on the cryptocurrency markets. Okay, it says here it failed to dent market sentiment in any noticeable way. So that's pretty interesting to note. And 9,500, which has provided a focus for price fluctuations in recent weeks, is now the next hurdle to clear. So huge stuff. And the last thing I want to cover here before we get into a little more TA is that Billy Bambro posted on Forbes, Samsung doubles down on Bitcoin and crypto, Gemini exchange integration revealed. So this is more fundamental news. We usually talked about technical analysis and technical news, but this fundamental news here is just that, certain wallets and there are certain things, people that aren't into crypto find these things a little challenging. Getting into crypto, storing your crypto, for people that don't know how to do it, it's kind of tedious, it's kind of hard. So things like this, Samsung, the Korean smartphone giant, experimenting with Bitcoin, and this is not new. They've been experimenting for a while. They're doubling down on cryptocurrency. What's new is that Samsung's blockchain wallet will add support for users of US Bitcoin and crypto exchange Gemini in North America. So it allows self-custody of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies directly on these newer models of Samsung Galaxy models, which will be able to buy and sell Bitcoin and a small selection of other cryptocurrencies via the exchange Gemini. Okay, crypto is not just a technology, it's a movement, said Gemini chief executive Tyler Winklevoss, who along with his twin brother has campaigned for Wall Street adoption of Bitcoin and crypto. For millions of Samsung users across the US and Canada, being able to store crypto directly on their phones lowers another barrier to entry. It's very important here. Customer demand for regulated crypto products has remained strong across the investing spectrum from retail to institutional. So absolutely huge. So that's a fundamental reason moving forward over the next, over into the future, the years of crypto. It's a very good sign, I think, and it's a very good approach to take. Awesome, guys. So make sure to leave your comment for the ledger. And as well, we made some more updates to T4. We're actually on version 3 right now, guys. So if you want more information on it, trading techniques, understanding charting, how to navigate exchanges, and much, much, much more. And there's more being added every single month as well. Specifically, we're going to be adding more information on margin trading for you people interested in that. Trading has been a big focus and a big interest, so that's another thing we'll be covering. So guys, if you're interested, enter the code MAYDAY at checkout for $45 off, guys. Huge. Very excited about T4 and everything going on with it. Huge.